This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded October 3rd, 2011. Episode 63, Pick and Place Palillogy.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble from Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
Hey Chris, what's happening in Cleveland? We're not Detroit.
We're not Detroit. That's right, the hastily made Cleveland video. You don't want to come buy a house here, Dave? Is that what I'm hearing?
I should, yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, we were.
Seriously, what, you can buy a house for the cost of a plane ticket from here to the US and back?
Yeah,
Somebody said that.
$1,000 houses, I think, yeah.
$1,000 houses.
I mean, you don't want to buy those houses. They're the city doesn't even want those houses. They're just
no. But you should just snap them up. Like, who knows? In 30 years' time, it might be a booming neighborhood again.
Yeah, but you got to pay taxes and stuff on everything. And
oh,
upkeep
right. Okay, got it. Yeah, that's the trap. That's the trap for young players, huh?
Those are not viable houses, really.
Right. Well, apparently in England, you can buy like castle. You buy like a castle really cheap.
Really?
Like, with the whole walls. I've always wanted a castle. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
And apparently you can buy them real cheap, but you've got to pay huge amounts of money to actually restore them. The council make you restore them or something, and it costs that's the condition of buying them cheap, is that you must
So they
fix
just
them
sit
up
there
and,
dilapidated because no one wants to buy them and no one will pay upkeep on them.
And they don't want to pay up the money to actually fix them because they're so expensive.
Yeah.
So, oops.
Well, you seem to be buying your own new castle, right?
Yes, I'm expanding.
You are. Let's hear about it.
This is the real estate segment here on the Amp Hour.
Yeah, right?
We do like to mix it up here.
If you have the smell of baking cookies when people visit your home, they may be more likely to buy.
Right. Yep. Oh, boy. Yes, I am I might be hours away from, hopefully, hours away from putting down a deposit on a new space, the EEV blog Nerd Cave.
The Nerd Cave, nice.
Nerd Cave / lab. Yes, it's within walking distance of my home, and yes, hopefully it's all but a done deal.
I mean, explain it to the audience here. I mean, what's the impetus behind this? Is it the garage keeps getting smaller, or what? You have shrinking walls?
Well, the garage is pretty small. If you've seen my video where I made a new bench and I'm so desperate for space, it goes out over the bonnet of the car, and
or the hood, yeah.
Yeah, or hood. Sorry. Let's not even talk about boots, right?
Right.
Which is the trunk in the US.
Yep.
Yeah. And, so that's how desperate for space I was. And still, I don't have enough space because I can't move in there because all the shit is over the floor. So I've got to, move everything aside on the floor before I can even... And sure, I could tidy stuff up and throw shit out, but, stuff just accumulates. And in the study here, which is the other space I've got, there's crap scattered all over the floor. So... what can you do? I'm just
move on
simply
out.
out of
That's
space.
what you can do. You can make your wife happy.
Exactly.
You can get the hell out of there.
So, and I mentioned it to she who must be obeyed. One morning, I got up and I said, it might be a nice idea if we bought a little unit somewhere, like an office space, so I can move all my stuff into. And her eyes lit up, and she was practically salivating at the thought of getting rid of all my crap. So
yeah,
she
it's not going to
agreed
be allowed
instantly.
back in, right?
So,
you have to succeed, Dave.
That's right. So that's the idea.
Nice.
Is that we would buy an office space. Well, the first idea was that I'd buy some, like one of those industrial unit kind of things. It's basically a big concrete warehouse with a big roller door.
Oh, like a U-store, yeah. That's what we call them here.
Yeah, right, okay, yep. One of those kind of things.
Those things aren't air-conditioned. Those aren't cool, heated. They're nothing. They hardly even have
yes, they've got a tin roof. Very nice and tall. They're really tall. You could like install a second level in there if you really wanted to.
Oh, nice, yeah.
But yeah, they're not air conditioned. Yep, they're a concrete floor, and they just feel like, and they're usually wedged between some auto wrecker and
liquor store, gun store,
liquor store, auto wrecker. There's the EV blog.
Yep.
Wedged between there. So yeah, but no, I've got no. So we thought. And they're not that common around here either.
Okay.
And they're not that cheap because they're
come to
fairly
Cleveland.
big.
We have tons of them. Nothing but space around here. Nothing but space.
It's not Detroit.
At least not Detroit.
I
feel bad because Detroit's doing so well. Like their maker spaces are doing really well, and like they're really trying over there. So any listeners out there in Detroit, keep on fighting people. Midwest Rust Belt solidarity from me.
Right. Oh, Detroit. Boy.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned on here before, if you haven't seen it, see the documentary Requiem for Detroit. It's very good.
Yeah.
So, yep. And, so that's the plan. So they're not that cheap, at least in this area. Because the whole idea is that if I had to get in a car and drive somewhere, well, I've always bitched about driving to work, and I've always dreamed about being able to walk to work,
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome,
so we
man.
decided...
That's like quality life through the roof, I think. There. Like, people don't really think about that, but... And it seems like, engineering companies... I don't know if you looked, at least... I don't know how it is in Australia, but it seems like engineering companies are always out in the suburbs. You never see them, like, downtown where it's real walking friendly or anything like that. They always want big production facilities. They want big office spaces where they can expand. And so there's always these office parks, and they're just... Ugh,
yep.
They're gross.
Yeah. No, that's the same thing here. There's actually where I've bought is now the second biggest office park, if you want to call it that, in all of Sydney. So, and it's probably going to end up being the biggest office park in all of Sydney if they ever get a train line out to it.
Oh, okay.
So, it's very new and it's very big, and yes. It's enormous, and that's where all companies want to buy. Especially
so it just happens
in engineering.
That you were out in the suburb where it was. I mean, that's the.
It
that's
just
the nice
so happens
thing.
that I live within walking distance of the second biggest in office industrial kind of park in Sydney. Yeah, so it's good.
Yeah, I know. If you go out to, I've only been out to California like two or three times now, and it seems like out there it's very campus based. It's like sprawling for the bigger companies at least. They have multiple buildings, and it's walkable once you get to the campus. And sometimes they bus people to campus, but in terms of actually being able to walk there, it's just like you spend half your time walking across other campuses to get to your campus.
Right. Yeah.
So unless you live right next to it or on it, that's how a lot of Chinese companies do it, where people are living on campus. Like Foxconn does that, I know, and other big companies have similar arrangements. But that's great, man. That's great that you'll be able to walk there. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was the requirement, that I could walk or maybe even ride a bike, but preferably walk. And literally, and as it so happens, we literally got almost the closest building physically to our house.
Nice.
So
that's too bad it wasn't a mandated bike ride, because then you would have been bike time rants.
Right, bike time rants. Well, I thought about the walk time rants and stuff like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But no, so I could sell my car and gain more garage space, ironically. And I could live my entire life without having to go anywhere within walking distance of my house. The gym's within walking or riding distance of my house.
Nice.
The bike ride and shops are within riding distance. This new office will be within walking distance. So I think it's about 10 minutes walk, or I haven't actually rode my bike there yet, but it's probably only like about 3 or 4 minutes by bike, tops. So it's very quick, very close. I like it. So and it's at 36 square meters.
Yeah, I was going to say, how big is it, and what are the plans for it? I mean, that's a lot more. You went from 2 square to 36 square, is that right?
Yep. Currently 4 square meters in the lab, roughly. Yep. To 36. There's actually currently a wall in there. There's a huge wall, and it's actually 2 separate offices. Because the guy, when he bought it, he decided to put a wall up and rent out half of it. So the wall's coming down, and it's going to be one door again. So it'll be one big open space. I think it's 7.5 meters by 5.5 meters or something. If you do the math, what does that add up to? But it adds up to 36 square meters. And please, if you got any ideas about what to do, I don't know.
I
haven't thought about it. I guess when I get it, I'll stand in there and go, right, what do I do?
I say shop bot. That's my first thing. I think those things are awesome.
Right.
Have you seen those? I think I mentioned those on here. But
yeah, they're quite a few $1,000s, aren't they?
I haven't looked recently. Let's see if I can pull it up.
$5,000 or something, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fun though. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. You could build a lot of cool stuff.
Yep.
Oh
but,
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. See, I've got room for all this big stuff now. Whereas before, it was totally out of the question. I couldn't even buy a MakerBot because I literally would not have room to put it.
Right.
So.
Holy moly.
Yep.
Yeah, $7,000 for a shop bot for the desktop one.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Wow.
It's not
cheap.
Yeah, it's not sort of a petty cash kind of outlay.
No. Yeah, that's the real problem. Now you got another payment. You can't go out and buy new gear.
No, exactly. So,
Yeah. You have to
anyway, the plan is probably 5 benches, something like that. Because I've got to have I will duplicate my current bench. Well, no, I'll dismantle my current bench and I'll move it as is. So the look will. The idea is to keep the look of the video the same if I can.
Oh, okay.
So.
You just take a picture and put up a cardboard backing behind you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm in a real lab.
Yeah, there you go.
So, because that's kind of one of my trademarks is the lab behind me, kind of, aspect
you
of the
get to
video.
rework it.
So,
I don't know. I think this is the fun part when you get to dream it up, and that was the fun part about building my bench. And
yep. But in the end, there's probably not much choice. It's a big open area. So what do? You put benches around the outside. You put bookcases and cupboards, and then you
fight robots in the middle.
A big table in the middle, and I'm going to have bean bags, of course. And
so basically, this is going to be like a 12-year-old's den, right? With electronics.
Yes, and there'll probably be an arcade machine, maybe a pinball machine or something.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do much else if I had a pinball machine around.
Right. But no, I figure I probably need 5 benches. I need one as the backdrop, right? And that's to do my electronics at. That'll be the soldering /work/test bench. Mm-hmm. Then I need another bench beside that where I just do teardowns. That'll be the teardown.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get some good lighting in there and everything, right?
Yep. Yeah, it has to. Yeah, I've got to figure out lighting, and so there'll be a teardown bench. Then there'll be another bench for just unpacking shit. And doing stuff like that because, there'll be another one for current project I'm working on. In fact, I probably should have two for current projects I'm working on. And things like that, because I'm always, I'm working on half a dozen projects at once. So they all have to sit somewhere, I hate having to put them away in boxes because then they're out of sight, out of mind.
Right, right.
So
instead of glance at something being like, ooh, I needed to do that.
Yep. So,
yeah, that's nice.
Anyway, the whole another part of the reasoning behind it is that it's more of a psychological thing. If I feel as that, if I have to get up in the morning.
What?
What was that?
I was just singing.
Right, as you do.
Yeah.
So, psychological thing. If I get up in the morning and I have to physically, hop on my bike or walk and buy honey, and off to work, then it's, I feel as though once I'm there, I should actually do something useful as opposed to pissing away my time, which is what I mostly do these days.
Right, and now when Sagan grows up, you can be like, you can take him to the office, and show him around. Versus,
exactly.
Hey Sagan, let's go to the garage.
That's right. So
there you go. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, so it's a bit, it's a big step forward in,
It's exciting, man. I'm excited for you. I'm going to tell you what to do, like crazy.
Right.
No, put this in. Spend some more money, Dave. You got to spend more money. You got to spend money to make money.
Got to spend money to make money. Yeah, right. All right. Got to buy an $8,000 shop bot, which is probably like $10,000 here in Australia, right?
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks pretty though. I like it. Oh, I like it.
Right. Anyway, write in, please comment in. Write in. Yeah, physically write a letter
yes,
to the
please.
Amp Hour. Yeah.
Mail it in. And you'll have a mailing address now, too. You can have people maybe stop by the EEV blog shop. Is that going to be...
I could, because, I've,
have,
only very
office
select...
hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do that. Only before, because it's my private house, only very select few people have been allowed to come here, I don't want, people just, turning up any time to our house here. It's not,
it's 2 in the morning.
Wife doesn't like that.
It's talk electronics.
I mean, everyone's nice and everything, but, it's not... yeah, we just don't want it to turn into that.
The post pub
because I've had so many people, I'm coming to Australia. Can I drop in and see you? And yeah, I'd love to, but it's my own private home. You know,
exactly.
It's like it's The wife doesn't like that too much.
Yeah, I can imagine she would. Yeah.
Yep.
The real question is,
as opposed to the hackerspace, the Melbourne hackerspace, where Andy's wife just lets everyone just rock up and destroy their house.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think he married well.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's
anyway,
good. And maybe we can bring back, I was asking on Google Plus today, too, if people wanted to see Workbench of the Week again. It seemed like it's been a big enough time. Maybe that can be our inaugural Workbench of the Week. We can have a little walkthrough of the new lab once you're all set up.
Oh yeah, there will be no doubt there'll be videos. It'll take some time though.
That's okay.
It'll be a mess.
I'm not in a hurry for Workbench of the Week again.
All right, cool. Anyway, no doubt. The Amp Hour show will still be done here. This will still be my audio recording studio and probably my video editing studio. So the whole idea would be that I would go there to work on my stuff and shoot the blogs and then come back here and edit. So I spend more time with the family, So that's the idea. Because if I edited my videos there as well, I'd be there all day, every day. And, that sort of defeats the purpose of sort of having your own businesses that I can spend time with little Sagan and the wife as well,
the lady,
for that matter. Not that she matters anymore, because my little Sagan is so cute. Yes.
So what should we talk about this week?
If she's listening, which she is. The walls aren't that thick here.
Oh. Oops.
She can hear everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we move on?
Yes. Yeah, let's... I'm sure people are sick of us talking about the lab by now, but it'll be fun.
Anyway, it's exciting.
Yeah. How about this... so speaking of things that you could stock in your lab, how about this DIY pick and place? I was pretty excited to see this. You didn't seem as enthusiastic.
Well, I think it's very cool, right? It's just like making your own chips, okay? Folks, it is very similar thing. It's very cool. It's possible, but is it practical?
Right.
Not really.
Well, let's get some background first. So Patrick Hood Daniel is the guy that wrote in. And so he runs a site called, buildyourcnc.com. And there's a couple CNCs out there already. I think there's DIY Lil CNC. That was like a Kickstarter project. And, people are trying to make desktop CNCs. That's just, that's the idea. And when you think about like MakerBots or RepRaps, they really start to converge because it's XY platter or XY stage, right? And then just some kind of Z motion. And then what you do with it is up to you. In this case, it's a drill. If it's a typical CNC. Yep. So you can do board
by the
routing.
way, my remarks at the start were in regards to a pick and place, not a CNC.
Right. No, I understand that.
A CNC is useful, so we're only talking about pick and place.
Right. Yeah, and we'll get to the pick and place. But the CNC, I mean, and really, CNC, there's XY stage, there's a Z stage for up and down, and then and there's a drill, and you can route out boards, you can cut out boards, cut out wood,
anything,
metal, whatever.
You can even add a laser to it, maybe, and you can laser cut stuff. If you want,
it's kind of interchangeable in that way, and that's what makes them pretty cool. And so what Patrick did is he put a suction tip on one of those, and I think you had actually mentioned doing this before. But
I mentioned it on my Raw show.
Yep. Okay. And so he put, I believe he was the one that built the initial buildyourcnc.com. And then he put a suction tip on the front, and then there's an actuator to turn suction on or off. And then he made it into a pick and place. That's kind of it. I mean, like it's not
As
it,
you do, right?
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
it because it's not easy to do, but it's that's the basics of it, right?
Yep.
So he sent in some videos, and obviously we can't really talk through them too much, but there's a couple interesting things on here. I thought. Let's hear your opinion first, Dave. I mean, I'm talking all about this.
Well, my opinion is that, I originally said on my Raw show that, wouldn't it, how hard can it be to do a pick and place? But it was a sort of an off the cuff remark, and I knew it wasn't really practical. Yeah, go figure.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a throwaway remark, because I knew very well that it wasn't really practical. Because the problem is, yes, you can build a pick and place machine as is done, and it works. Okay, great.
And it looks awesome.
Right, yeah, and it's right, and it does work, but it all comes down to the practicality of how many parts it can, its speed, how many parts it can place per hour versus manual placement, and also how many feeders you have and how well the feeders work and how long it takes to set up the machine and, tweak it to get it and how reliable it is and all that sort of stuff to make it into a practical pick-and-place machine that actually saves you time over manual soldering. And
right, and
really,
that's a very valid point, I think.
And also compared to what it costs you to go to an assembler who has a proper $150,000 machine, which does it 10 times quicker. They know how to set it up. They're the experts. They know how to maintain it.
I disagree with that.
And you've got to
one,
dick around with all this shit in your garage to what? And it turns out that if you do the numbers in terms of, dollars saved versus time versus pick and place, versus sending it to a commercial assembly house to do it, there's a very narrow window of where a do-it-yourself pick-and-place machine makes sense. A very narrow financial, time cost-to-benefit window.
Ooh, I get to quote yourself. I get to quote you back to you, Dave. You're not...
Oh, please.
And this quoting you back to you, quoting someone else. Oh, this is
right.
This is delicious. I can't wait. You're not thinking fourth dimensionally, Dave. Which I was watching. I was watching that the other day too. I was watching Back to the Future. I mean, yeah, you're
Excellent.
Right. Right now, the way the speed it's set up at, I totally agree.
Yep.
I think it's slow, but it's all about developing it. It's people like Patrick and people that are doing this that are passionate about it that are kind of moving it along, though, right? So they might work on the next generation. Of course, it's going to be more realistic to go to an assembler, I think, but. Yep. I think he's doing it for the art of it, not the.
Of course he is, and that's brilliant. It's like making your own chips. I fully support it. Right?
Oh, okay. So you're just saying from the commercialization, using this
from the practical, from the is it practical to make your own do-it-yourself pick-and-place machine? Not at the moment.
Not at the
even
moment.
Close.
No, but it's
not even close.
I think it's pretty cool to start with.
They need to be 10 times quicker.
Yeah,
and they need to be 10 times more reliable. They're an order of magnitude out of where they should be.
Right.
Really.
And I think for posterity, we can posterity, is that the right word? I don't even know. I think we should include a video of an actual large scale pick and place because those things are zippy. Those things are just
lightning quick. You can't even see them almost.
I know.
They're that quick.
And they're really cool to watch. And they have feeder rolls and everything like that. And it is a good as a reference point because that in a large scale manufacturing that's what's being used and that's kind of the standard these days, right? These large machines.
Yeah.
And
it's not that expensive these days, just like manufacturing PCBs isn't expensive these days. The prices have plummeted down to rock bottom levels where you can afford to get your own board, assembled. You only need 100 boards assembled.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the actual commercial pick and places because I know that Adafruit has one and DIY Drones
they started
has one.
about 10 grand. The Adafruit one cost about 50 grand. But they do start at about 10. So
right. And I don't think they have the super fast. They have fast ones, but not the fastest ones. Yeah,
they're not that bad. But then you've got to buy all the feeders.
Right. Yeah.
See, because that's the key to a pick and place is that
right.
If you don't have enough feeders to handle all the components you need, then you've got to go for a second or a third run through, and that just kills the time advantage of the
right
pick and place machine. It just absolutely kills it. So.
And that is something that I wanted to call out about this DIY pick and place, because I think it's pretty cool. The way he does it, actually. So if I can explain it, if you imagine your finger as like the suction tip, right? So it's coming down on a part. You turn on the suction.
Yep.
It picks up the part. It goes over and places it on the board in whatever rotational it needs it, right? Because sometimes you have rotated
45-degree parts and rotated parts.
Right. So then it goes back over, right? And now you have an empty tray inside a reel, right? So a reel tape, really. So if you think of an 0603 resistor, where that once was, there's now just an empty spot. What he uses, so imagine your finger going down and going into that hole now, and then he moves, so he knows the distance down, right? And he moves the suction tip towards the board, so it actually advances the tape for you. Now, that obviously has a time hit, right, which is the eventual thing that could really hurt you. But I think in terms of like an innovative way to remove the need for real advancers, so like that's pretty cool. That was definitely the first thing that popped out about this video to me. I thought it was so cool. You know, he just comes the tip comes back down, moves the tape over, and then moves back to the next part, and then it moves on. Yep. So I thought that is quite nice. That was very elegant.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's got, I don't know, a dozen or more tape holders,
right?
Really?
Yeah.
So that's actually a lot, you know.
And really, it's infinite. I mean, you could, as big as your stage is, you know, if your XY motors were, you know, 20 by 20 meters, you could have
then you can
infinite tapes.
Exactly.
Yeah. It'd be stupid to do that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But is the tip strong enough to actually pull the tape through like that without breaking the
it looked like
suction?
It. And and he talks about it too. So I emailed him back. He's emailed me about this. And
okay.
And you know, they're actually off the shelf tips, which is good. And they are metal. I mean, I think they might be stainless steel. And you might have seen them before. They're like a translucent pink or blue or green plastic. And usually you put them on top of. You know, I've used them on top of like squirt bottles for using like flux or water.
Squirt bottles and syringes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that kind of thing. So they're relatively strong. I'm sure if like the tape got stuck, you'd probably bend a tip, or hopefully you wouldn't damage the stage. But and then he says, I don't know, you could put cups on top of the tip then for picking up bigger components. He uses like a what are those called? The 44 pin, where the pins like wrap underneath the chip. I've forgotten the name of that package type. Whatever that is. But he was building like a driver board, like a motor driver. So, you know, it had probably 50 parts or so. Probably took about 5-10 minutes. But it seemed to line up well. And then he ended up doing, he shows in his videos too, he does the SparkFun hot plate method. Or I don't know if it was SparkFun, but he quotes SparkFun. So, I don't know. It was. I think all in all, I was extremely impressed by it. I wouldn't have been talking about it otherwise, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. I think it's the best attempt out there. How to do it yourself. Pick and place machine. It's by far the best attempt, I think.
Yeah.
So I do like it. And speaking of the hot plate method for doing the reflow, I don't know why you'd bother these days. On eBay, you can buy the reflow ovens for $200.
Yeah.
You know, those IR reflow oven. Even here in Australia, I think it's $250, including postage, to Australia. You know?
Really?
It's like, for these, I'm thinking about buying one for the new lab. I've never had room before, but now I can, it's cheap enough. You know, it's almost one of those impulse buy things.
Yeah, right. That's going to happen a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Nicole's going to be looking at the bank account and yelling at you, right?
Yeah, well, it will vanish into the noise compared to all the baby stuff.
Oh, there you go.
Impulse buying, you know.
Oh, so, yeah. Just keep track of that. Be like, but what about those booties?
That's right.
I mean, I've used the IR reflow ovens before on just like rapid circuit prototyping stuff, and I mean those things are great. I mean, you can actually create temperature profiles, you can do preheating and everything like that.
Yeah, I know.
I was pretty interested. I haven't looked at the SparkFun tutorial on it, but I was interested by the fact that they're only from the bottom side. So like, you know, you put a circuit board with you know solder paste and the parts on top, whatever, and you only heat it from the bottom side.
Yeah, and you have to rely on the heat flow through the FR4 laminate, and
right.
You know,
So if you're doing like metal core, if you're doing metal core, it's probably better, like for
of course,
high heat conduction for like LED boards. But Yeah, I don't.
No, it's a poor way to do it, and it doesn't save much money. You hear about people, they go out and they bought some sort of hot plate and they're modifying it to turn it. Why? For $250, you can buy a proper IR oven.
I mean, that just might be the DIY spirit of it, just trying to
possibly.
build it up. But...
Yeah, I can certainly understand it playing around, but when things get down to a point where they're, so cheap like that, and it's the right tool for the job.
Well, that's a good point, because you might end up burning
and you don't
boards.
want to ruin your components. You know, you don't want to sort of, it's fairly important to get that sort of thing right. So, I don't understand why you do it yourself these days. You've certainly come down to a price point where it's not worthwhile. Sorry.
Well, I think it's the DIY spirit of it, right? And I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
I like the idea. I like the. I don't know how big SparkFun's ever going to get, but I like the story of like Nathan Seidel in his dorm room building boards like that with a hot plate. I think that's like a good like lore, like kind of like in the HP garage when the guys when Bill and Dave were building boards. They did, what was it, like Bakelite?
They were building the HP 200 oscillator, and they were putting them in the oven. They were putting the front panels in the oven to bake them.
In his wife's oven, and then they'd go make a cake
and
in it
they had
later.
A drill press, and they were drilling their own holes.
So that's some fun lore, right? I mean, but I don't know if people would replicate it just because Bill and Dave did it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can do it. You can manufacture hundreds of boards in your own home. You can start up your own business, and you don't need anyone.
Yeah,
really,
it's true. It's true.
So, yeah.
So, any plans for 3D printers in your future, Dave?
No, not real. I don't think they're at a point yet where they're not as good as they could be. The quality's not there yet.
Well, I said 3D printers. I didn't say MakerBot. I didn't say RepRat. I said so. 3D printer could be, I don't know, $5,000 on eBay, right? You can get some of the.
Well, yes, one of the commercial ones. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about reviewing one. There's a company here in Australia which have a reasonably good looking one. It's a pretty cheap actually. It's almost the same price as the MakerBot. Actually built up. Because MakerBot's about $2,000 build up or something, and this commercial one, and this commercial one's only $2,500 build up. So, it's very similar. It's an open frame. It's a very similar look kind of thing. I forget the name of it.
Is it based on RepRap, or is it just a?
No. It's their own design. It's their own commercial design.
Yeah.
And it's sold by half a dozen different companies. It's rebranded and all that sort of stuff. It comes from, I don't know, the Netherlands or something.
Huh. That's cool. Yeah, so, you should do that.
Hopefully I'll get one and I will review it. And if it's really good, I'll buy one. Yeah. So, yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
I was thinking about it. I saw some videos this weekend, and I'm just like, I'm thinking about it, like it's
right.
It's kind of getting to that point of like, I mean, $1,200 is still $1,200. Don't get me wrong. It's but man, it just seems like something I just really wanted to try it. I mean, I was really jonesing for a shop bot, but sorry. Sorry, Skype barfed at me there.
Right.
And I really wanted a shop bot because I was looking at building some like wine rack stuff, but. If anyone knows of one in the Midwest, I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, there's no tech shops or anything around like that around here. So unless you know someone with the actual equipment, you have to either go buy it yourself or try and sneak into a university lab or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe there's a hackerspace somewhere.
Well, there's a hackerspace in Cleveland. There's and there's a couple up in Detroit. There's a couple around, but none that I had heard had a shop bot. So. That's what I'm looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to hang out for the next generation one because I've looked at the outputs of the MakerBots and they're just not that great. They're fun, right, to play with, but you have to do a lot of work to finish off a part, kind of thing,
Yeah, like scrub it down with acetone and
scrub it, file it down, and their alignment's not the best. So
it's getting better though. It's
getting better. Every generation gets better, and it won't be long before that. But it's sort of if I'm going to spend $1,500 or $2,000 on a 3D printer, I want it to work well, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't really justify spending that sort of money just to have fun with it and print out, you know, little toy figurines or something, you know. So
Right. Yeah. You want to have some.
Yep. Whereas
Tenable
if it was at the $500 level, then, you know, it'd be an impulse buy. You know, you'd go out and you'd buy it just for printing little toy parts and things, right? So
Yeah. As long as they're non-toxic, you can give them to the kid, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's all a matter of price point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yep.
What about laser cutters? Laser cutters in your future?
Laser cutters are getting cheaper. I think $3,000 on eBay or something gets you a kick-ass laser cutter.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of
it's
kits
a made
are
in
showing.
China, no-name one. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's
How
actually how they're
reliable
making
is it?
certain kits, too. Like, I know Evil Mad Scientist Labs, they use their laser cutter for some of their kits. Like, I think that Eggbot kit is actually laser cut parts. So, yeah, you can do some fun stuff with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. If I get back into the kit business seriously, I would certainly consider actually, you know, spending some real money on some real gear for this sort of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That'd be cool.
it would be cool.
And then you expand your operation. Then you can hire me.
Right.
You can't afford me.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. And for the cost of the airfare flying over here, I can buy a house in.
There you go. Yeah. You can just set up a remote shop in some dilapidated
that's
house
right.
in Cleveland.
I can buy one of those $1,000
Dave, I'm
houses and set you up over
freezing.
there.
It's December. Why am I in an empty house?
Toughen up, man.
Back to the laser cutter with you.
Oh boy. So there you go. Yeah, do it yourself. Pick and place.
I like it. I think it's great. People should check it out.
I think it's cool too. But yeah, don't get one thinking that's going to save you time and money. Yeah. Because it won't. But geez, it'd be a fun toy.
Yes, it would. Speaking about building out, like you in your lab, have you been watching any of this 450 millimeter wafer thing? Have you seen anything about that? I mean,
No, do tell as usual. No,
you don't want. I mean, it's your buddy Steve Liebson.
Steve Liebson. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, if you're listening.
He was writing about actually someone else's article though. So if people don't know, 450 millimeter wafers are 18-inch silicon wafers. So if you can imagine that, I mean that's like the size of my forearm. I mean, I guess that's more of a foot. But
how big is the silicon? Yeah, the silicon slug has to be that wide that they slice these things up from. Right.
So that means it has to be like uniform all across that too. And,
yeah.
The really actually the thing that I had experience with was etch stuff, right? And the really big problem is that like when you try and like distribute chemicals, or in the case I was working on plasma, like evenly across silicon. It doesn't work because it's just so much area. You know, when you're doing a 2-inch wafer or a 4-inch wafer, you only have to concentrate it. Like you can have plasma all over the place, but you only have to concentrate it in one spot, really. But when you're doing, 18 inches across, that's ridiculous. Anyways, so there's like all this build out talk. They're talking about Intel, and Intel's building this new fab up in Albany and crazy stuff, and the only reason they're doing all this stuff is Moore's Law, right? They're just kind of trying to march along and keep in front and stuff like that. Well,
the only reason to go to a wafer this big is so that you get more chips per wafer and you lower the cost of your devices, right?
Right, yeah, because you can only get so many wafers through, right?
If you take out the cost of the fab, right? If you ignore the cost of the fab, the only reason to go to a bigger wafer, because it's not like you make a big one chip that's 450 millimeters wide, right? So, yeah, the whole idea is you get it's just a scale thing. You get more chips, more dies, more chips per wafer,
right? And especially with if you start moving, I mean, not like power devices are getting this big, but if you have power devices that need to consume more power or burn more power and dissipate more heat, then those have to be bigger too. So you get less of those per wafer.
Yep.
So that's kind of the whole big thing.
But what are they saying here? Does it cost $7 billion to upgrade the lab to 450 millimeters?
No, it's saying $2 billion to upgrade from 300 millimeter up to 450 millimeter.
Oh, okay.
So that'd be replacing.
Can't you build another 300 millimeter lab for $2 billion? Fab for $2 billion?
Last I saw was about $5 billion for a full size
right.
fab.
Oh, geez, you're getting down to the point where it's, there's not much in it, is there, between whether or not you try and upgrade, or you physically just build another fab, a second 300 millimeter one.
Yeah, there's a lot of concerns with that, though, too. It's not easy to, you're just saying more floor space, more, utilities and everything, right? And just, but then you got to pay more taxes.
Yeah.
You got to, it's just becoming such a narrow game. That's what, Steve points out, and that's what Deepak, the guy that wrote an article about this, he's from Monolithic IC 3D. Basically, it's becoming an unreasonably large game, right? So you talk about, Dave, chip making is not realistic at home because the cost is so low because of these fabs, and this is what they're doing to try and keep costs low. Is that you have to keep making more and more chips, so that one wafer process. Because like the different processes take a long time, so you got to try and maximize the chips per wafer. But man, $7 billion. That's a lot. That is a lot of dough. You see what you did, Apple? You see what you did?
$7 billion for a 450 nanometer. That's to upgrade. Yeah.
That's for a new one.
Yeah, he is estimating it actually costs not $2 billion, but $7 billion to upgrade to a 450 millimeter fab. That's what he's saying here.
Oh, to upgrade. Oh, okay. I missed that.
Yes, to upgrade. Yeah, that's.
I thought that was from scratch.
Like the original estimate is $2 billion, and he's saying that's bullshit. And it's actually going to be closer to $7 billion.
Yeah.
And well, wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, what does this mean for consumers, Dave?
Well, it means up front the price of chips isn't going to drop because somebody's got to pay for that $7 billion capital investment.
Right. And so, what if you can't get the ear of TSMC or TI, whoever's making these huge wafers? What if you want to have a custom chip made and you can't get them to?
Well, you can. There's plenty of services out there that have deals in place.
What if you can't afford it, though, because the costs are going up so much? And
Well, you use a bloody FPGA or something, right?
What if you want a custom chip at home, Dave?
Yeah, good luck that it does anything more than flash an LED. If you're looking at a custom chip, then you're looking at something ridiculously advanced. You're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. That was not the point of bringing this up, but I thought that was a nice little add-on there. Nice little jab.
Dude.
It's getting crazy, though. Let's agree on that one, right? It is getting unbelievably crazy.
It is silly. Yeah. Can't they just whip the Oompa Loompas faster to make more 300 millimeter chips? Isn't that cheaper than spending $7 billion to?
I don't know. You get a big
upgrade to 450
bump from moving up in wafer size,
Yeah, I guess.
And it drives equipment sales and everything else too. I guess that's good for, I don't know, the industry. Whatever. I don't care.
Yep.
But yeah.
But how long is that fab offline while you upgrade it to 450 millimeters?
Well, you can do it in stages, so like
I guess.
Yeah. But, and then you can have selectively, like certain type of wafers go to one machine, after other wafers go to another machine, and have a transition over. There's very little in the way of a downtime in fabs if they can help it.
Yeah, I know, because it's their business. Yep. Yeah.
And they say that. Let's see.
I've worked in the manufacturing environment where we work 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And they had 3 shifts around the clock, and you always had standing orders. If you worked in these places, you had, when you're employed, they go, right, your standing orders are, regardless of what else you're told to work on, if there's a problem on the production line, that takes priority over everything. You go out and fix that, because we will lose, $100,000 an hour or something if our production line is not working.
Yeah, it's almost like the perfect embodiment of time is money, right?
Yes, it is. It literally is. So,
it's interesting in those situations too. I mean, I've written about that a little bit before, but it's interesting in those situations too. is just how much wallets seem to kind of loosen up, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it makes sense. Like if you're a manager, right, and you got, so Dave Jones is my engineer, because of course Dave would be working for me.
Right. Hey, dude, who's got the Empire now?
Oh, that's true. Office? That's true. I don't have an office yet. I just have a basement in Cleveland.
Amateur.
Yeah, right. Oh. Anyways, employee Jones, says, "Oh, I want to update this thing," and I say, "No, we don't have it in the money in the budget." And then the whole product line goes down, and he says, "Oh, I need to update this right now." Well, yeah, it's probably worth it if you're losing $100,000 an hour or whatever it might be.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing how that really seems to get thrown into sharp relief at that point. So
yeah. I think for us it was $100,000 a day. That's what we would lose. So it wasn't quite $100,000 an hour. We weren't that big, but still, yeah. That's a fair chunk of change a day.
Yeah, that's your operating capital, right?
I mean, if you look at that, you are literally going to lose that amount of money,
right?
And you're going to piss off the customer who wants this stuff, and
yes.
Well, so there's lots of flow-on effects. So yeah, like just spending $10,000 to go out and buy something to fix something within an hour instead of a day is worth it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So the wallets would suddenly become, like hours before they would not sign your requisition sheet to, can I buy a new multimeter please for, $100? Oh, I don't know. No, can't afford it. And then an hour later, shit hits the fan in production and they're signing off on 10, 20 grand gear,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny.
Never waste a good crisis, right? That's what
right.
I think there's Rahm Emanuel in the US.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep.
Anyway, yes, it's very eye-opening working in a production facility.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, and it's it's dying art in the US at least. I mean,
right, nothing's made there anymore.
I'm sure in Australia it's the same thing, not a lot of production going on, but
no, only niche stuff,
Right, yeah, or in our case, it's always military. Military seems to have
military is the big thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Of course. But then you're not under the same time pressures because military, it's like,
Yeah.
You're only a year late? Oh, man, fantastic.
Here's a bonus. No, it's not like that.
Yes, it is. I've worked in the military. That's how it works.
I guess I haven't, so...
Right, yeah. So, I've not worked in the military. I've worked in the defence industry. And
gotcha.
Yeah, that's how it works. You're only a year late, sir. Fantastic. We will award you another contract.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. I know. That's the world, though. The world is nuts. Yeah,
it is. And, I mean, it's interesting where everything's going. Like, military spending, at least in the U.S., too, seems to be... that's dropping off, and that's a significant investment in in technology these days. At least in the U.S., is military spending, like Department of Defense, and with cuts in the U.S. coming, it'll be interesting to see if one of the remaining sources of hardware innovation is kind of in trouble. I don't know.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where they make the cuts. Is it going to be in research, kind of engineering? Fields, or is it going to be in, actual
personnel or
subs and aircraft carriers and planes and shit like that?
Right.
Is it actually going to be hardware or is it going to be, talent and R&D?
Right.
So,
and that's actually one of the I didn't post it on here, but there's been videos recently of the Boston Dynamics. And I actually have a friend that works there, but they've been working on this.
What is that, a company? Is it?
Yeah, it's a robotics company actually. So they're up in Boston.
Boston. Yeah, go figure.
Yeah.
Now, is Boston better than Detroit as well?
Boston's awesome. I was just out there, remember?
Right. That's right, yeah. Boston, yes.
Boston's a great city.
I swear Detroit's going to come back and
they are. They're going to kick your ass, too.
They're going to kill everyone. They're going to kick everyone's ass.
Yeah. So this company, though, they make robotics, and so they're famous. They made the Big Dog. It's like this transport vehicle. It's a four-legged transport for cargo, and they just came out with the Alpha Dog. It's like this other next generation thing, but They make some
four-legged.
Four-legged. So it's like a pack. It's like a pack mule basically, but it's a robot. And
right.
It's awesome. So it's just it can handle any terrain basically, and it can carry.
I'm sure it cost an awesome amount of money.
It does,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the kind of thing that like DoD's funding, right? There, or maybe that's even DARPA, and that's an example of, well, you can cut military budget, but that actually funds, future robotics too, right? So whatever they develop to make this big dog, whatever it is, like a new actuator because they need to be able to carry more weight, that actually gets propagated out into the ecosystem. Same kind of thing with like NASA and everything else too. When NASA was spending a lot of money, that popped up a lot of new vendors, and whatever you want to think on the government spending side of things. I mean, the investment in technology is all I care about in the end, and it sucks whenever you see that going away. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And speaking of pissing money down the drain.
Yeah.
We have a shonky product of the week.
Hey. Oh, this is a good.
Sorry,
this is another good effects. One. Yeah.
This is just like this is pornographically, bad. Really, it's just
right. And we should mention again. This is Ben Rampling, the same guy who sent in that fire, the guy in front of the fireplace.
Yep.
Ben's the one who found
gold.
that and sent
Everyone
that.
Everyone loved that. We posted that, and
it's brilliant.
Yep. Anyway, I've seen this one before because I get, with my audio file thing, I get a couple of emails every week of check out this one.
Yeah.
And this is great. Anyway, tell us about it.
Basically, it's called lessloss.com. I mean, we're not gonna, withhold the link this week because
no,
it's not that bad. But it is that bad. But it's too good to not post, right?
Yes, you've got to go there and have a look at the bullshit.
Yeah.
Firsthand, really. Yeah.
Yep.
It's worth giving them publicity because we know no Amp Hour audience listener would be stupid enough to buy one.
Yep. So basically, it's a black body box, right? And you put it in the room. You put it in the same room as your audio gear, and it's supposed to condition the ambient field, of course, right? Let's see. It says, and this is a quote: "Placing the black body near your gear will condition the ambient field. Your gear's radiation is transformed into room temperature black body radiation, inhibiting the sound's degradation."
And on the front page here, the ambient field conditioner neutralizes equipment-borne radiation, lowers the noise floor, sharpens focus and imaging, eliminates sonic smearing of high frequencies.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh.
And all for the bargain price of $1,323. That's American dollars.
$1,300.
Yeah.
Yep.
American dollars, folks, please. But free shipping.
Oh, of course.
Wow.
And they've got, and if you want large quantity orders, you email them direct. Because, the more you put around your room, the better it is.
Yeah.
You see.
Oh, I like the second picture, too, with, pointing right at a tube. Like that those two are intimately related.
It makes the sonic vibrations in your tube, lowers the sonic vibrations. Great photographs, really.
Yeah, they're high quality.
Nice promo. Yep. It almost makes you want to buy one, and it almost looks like it belongs in a DeLorean, it should be in there to replace
right next to the flux capacitor,
There you go. Very similar. So.
Oh man, this is great. So thank you, Ben, for sending that in. We love seeing these things. Oh my God.
Yeah. I would do a teardown, but
yeah, right.
There's nothing in it.
Oh man.
And I'm sure it's substantial weight too. I bet you they filled it with like a resin to make it
cast
feel
iron
really heavy, because you can't have something like this feeling light. That'd just cheapen the effect,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I like the press coverage and the quotes they have. They have 2-word quotes. I'm sure they have one that says highly recommended. I'm sure in front of that it said not highly recommended.
I love where down the page, how do I position it for top performance? And they've got like these, 2 incorrect photos of how like you've got it off axis to your amplifier and it's not dispersing all these little particles.
Yeah, then when you call in and you're all pissed off, oh well, maybe you didn't position it correctly. Perhaps you should try and reposition
it. and no, you've got to actually point it at your equipment.
Yes.
So you've got to adjust the right, and it's got an angle field apparently that it comes out and pushes all the nasty.
This is not unidirectional. It is very focused, right? It's
no, it's quite fake. It's got a narrow beam. It's got an angle coverage of 35 degrees. There you go.
Yep. Oh boy. Yep.
They actually recommend opening up your gear and looking at where inside your circuitry is located. And if possible, several black bodies should be used in tandem to maximise the coverage and effectiveness. The more the merrier, they say.
Yep. Speaking about things that piss us off, I had to follow up real quick about financial engineering. Everybody can fill in their amp hour bingo sheets. Basically, my friend sent this in to me. It was a post. It was an NPR story, and basically, it's this guy who's been in the financial field since like the late 70s, and brilliant dude working on all kinds of derivatives, everything else like that. But basically, he said the last line on this page, and I'll post the article and the link and everything like that. It also had an unfortunate side effect. The best and the brightest went into finance because it paid better than other professions. So we had this whole generation of people who would otherwise have been great scientists, great doctors, great creators of other things, attracted to a business which ultimately only provided, to a substantial degree, and remember this guy's in the financial field, toxic waste. And that's the tragedy of our time. It was this diversion of enormous amounts of talent. And it's like, you don't even think about it. Like one or two people, that pisses me off, right? I knew someone that's going in the financial field, and I was trying to discourage him. But man, like a whole, throughout the 90s, 2000s, that's a substantial amount of people, and it's those people are not working on stuff the world needs. That sucks, man.
I know.
So, I don't know if the solution is to. I don't think the solution is more money in engineering. I mean, I'd love more money in engineering, but I don't think it's ever going to get there. I don't know. Buddy.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's just got to be cooler. I mean,
cooler.
Because ultimately smart people are nerds, and they will ultimately want to do cool stuff. That really wins out over.
Right. And I think it's summed up in like purpose too, right? Purpose is like you're actually doing something that matters instead of shuffling money around like a I don't know, toad. I don't have a squirrel. A squirrel hiding nuts.
You've got to ask though, are these people who went into this, would they have actually really made talented engineers? Or were they just smart guys who were good at math and shit like that? Would they have actually... Because you've got to have that passion. If you've got the passion, no amount of money almost is going to sway you from that. So all of the best and smartest engineers have passion. And I don't think these people had it.
Yeah, maybe. And I mean, I guess there's the argument, too.
They wouldn't have scored so many people.
Yeah, maybe the argument, too, is that if they were in the field, then, it would have flooded the market and yada, yada, yada. But
I
mean, there's no way to really know, right? I mean, it's like you look at, like, the Alexandria Library, right? And that, like, burned down in the ancient times and had all this knowledge. And you don't know what happened. I mean, people could have just sat on that knowledge for years, but we'll never know, So... It's a shame. A darn shame.
Well.
Yeah.
What can you do? Anyway, it's coming to an end, right? That is the good news.
Maybe. I don't know, man.
Surely.
We must stay vigilant.
Everyone knows that these people are evil, right? The people who do this shit and work on this derivatives, they ruined America, right? And basically, and caused the world the greatest financial crisis since the Depression. I mean, everyone thinks these people are pure evil.
I don't know about pure
Anyone
evil,
with any brains
definitely
knows these people are pure evil.
I don't know if I'd say pure evil, but they're not on my happy list. They're
Who's worse?
Highly diluted. Oh, not many.
Right. Oh boy. Marketers.
No, come on.
Bingo.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, how about this day in nerd history? We can close out on that.
Go for it.
So there's a guy named John Atanasoff?
You're telling the story.
Yeah, I don't know. Basically, he was at Iowa State, and as a graduate student, he was one of the first guys to come up with binary arithmetic, regenerative memory, and logic circuits, basically. But basically, they didn't get patented on it, and so they weren't listed on the ENIAC. Is it ENIAC? Ugh.
The ENIAC.
ENIAC. Sorry, that was one of the first computers,
yes.
right? And
yes.
So basically, later on, he was vindicated in court, and blah 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 blah. And so that sucks,
right.
But yeah. So this guy
sucks that you have to get a patent to recognise you as the inventor of something. You know, that's
right.
That's just crap. Hate that.
Yeah, and there's that thing about how people always seem to file for patents at like around the same time too, which is always weird coincidences, but.
One notable exception to that I was reading about recently is the guy who invented, I think, the cure for polio.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not sure of his name. I can't remember. But instead of actually doing a patent, instead of patenting the thing, he gave it to the world. He said, look, I've already got a great career, a great job. They pay me well. I'm a researcher. This is what I do. I've got a big house and a nice family. What do I need? Trillions of dollars for. I don't. So here we go. Here's the cure. I give it to the world, And he's famous for doing that now.
Wow.
Not only famous for inventing it, but for giving it away. So
yeah, try seeing that at a pharmaceutical company these days, right?
Right, yeah, I know. You'd be marched out the door by security.
Yeah. Jonas Salk,
as
that's
I thought
it, right?
I would be at Altium,
Yeah.
Hey, let's not go there. We could.
No, that's okay.
Maybe next week.
Is Jonas Salk. That's the name you were looking for, I believe.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Right. That rings a bell.
Yeah.
And he famously gave it away, so I reckon that's great.
Yep. So, yeah, he basically, there's a Tanasoff Berry computer, and that's in Iowa State University, and we'll post it's just a Wikipedia link, but yeah, he was born on this day. That's actually the history side of things, October 4th, 1903. So, pretty awesome dude. It's always fun seeing, you can't look for electrical engineers early in the days. You always have to look for physicists. Physicists spawn electrical engineering, really. Even though Einstein started as an electrical engineer, that was a different kind of electrical engineer than what we think of today. That's more of a electrician, I think, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think that's how it was. He was kind of doing wiring and stuff like that. That was his trade, and then he was a physicist in his free time. So,
oh boy, very good.
Well,
I like it.
Any final capacity stuff for today? What do we call that again? Final? Extra capacity
I don't know.
On the amp hour?
Extended capacity? I have no idea.
Yeah.
We're so disorganised on this show. I don't know. It's got to be something. Come on. Quick. Throw it in there.
Google Plus now allows people to watch streams, so if people wanted us to do video again, we could do that. So
I think, tell us if you want
to
somehow watch live as we actually record this hodgepodge of a show.
Yeah, you have to watch me sitting around at the beginning waiting for Dave to wake up. And
right, yeah. I've had a big problem with that lately.
But once you have an office, you won't, right?
No, because I'll be back into a
routine?
5-day-a-week work routine, probably.
There you go. That'll be nice.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, because as part of the deal, the wife wanted the weekends back. You see. That was, yeah.
That's good. I think that's good, man. Work-life balance, that's
good.
a very important ththing. You don't have that, and you're going to start seeing a lot of things fall apart, I think. So...
Yep. Although I still don't think of this as work, but
maybe
it is.
I've
got to get
maybe
up.
You need to.
Maybe I need to. That's the thing. Otherwise, it's so easy to sit around in your pajamas until midday and just chat on forums and surf the time sink that is the internet.
I mean, work can be fun. I mean, and purposeful, right? That's what I think of when I think of work. I think of I want to get stuff done today, and I think a lot of people feel that in their hobby life too, like the hobbyists and makers and stuff like that.
Yep.
But work's about getting stuff done and feeling good about getting stuff done, I think. And so
you've got to work and wake up with purpose. Some mornings I wake up and I go, right, damn it, I'm going to do this today.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot this blog, or I'm going to design this thing, or I'm going to,
Yeah.
prototype this or something. And, yeah, you've got to have some purpose.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will fritter away your life.
Yeah. And a job is just forcing you into that. Hopefully it's purposeful when you get there, but then the rest of the time when it's not, you got to go anyways because they're paying you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The world of Dilbert.
Yep. Alrighty, well, I look forward to hearing more about your update, Dave. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, hopefully, yes. Hopefully within some time today, I will be putting down the deposit. So there you go.
Keep your eyes glued to Dave's Twitter.
Yes, it'll be tweeted.
There you go.
There you go. And once that deposit's down, well, that's it. There's no going back.
Locked in. Yep.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, wish Dave luck. Leave us comments in the comment section and find us on Twitter or Google+.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see you next week.
See ya.